Welcome back to the channel. I'm Latch.
And I'm Dean.
And we're talking about Kings of War, the tabletop miniatures game. And today what we're going to talk about is choosing a faction. What's your first faction?
Ooh. So my first faction is just going straight at the beginning of the alphabet. Is A for Abyssal Dwarfs.
A for Abyssal Dwarfs. Which unit has caught your eye?
Well, the standard infantry being the Black Souls.
All right. Black Souls? What can you tell me about this?
Well, I quite like the look of all the stat blocks. So far, they look to be standard dwarfy style stat blocks.
Slow. Speed 4,
yeah,
not fast.
Slow units, but trading off
melee
speed
4, that's
for particularly good melee stats.
Decent. From Defense 5, so staunch.
From what I can see, looking at them, obviously just from my understanding of the game.
Like, people who are watching the video, you probably know how to play the game, and we don't really. But that's the point. The point is really give you our impressions as noobs.
Yeah, it's completely fine. I mean, I can turn around.
Is it okay?
I'm open to criticism. It doesn't bother me.
That shirt doesn't go with those trousers for a start. So you like that. They look pretty well costed to me. So 75 points for a troop. So I must say, Ronnie, CEO of Mantic, I think you need to tighten up your unit size, your terms for unit sizes. That will perhaps not be very welcome. But a troop, a regiment and a horde mean the size of the unit.
Yeah, well,
so a troop looks very cheap, and a regiment is not much more expensive.
It's not that much more expensive, and to be fair, you're only getting a little bit extra in stats, being only an extra 2 attacks, and the nerve and results going up a little bit. But you're making up for unit size going from 1 to 3, so definitely better for holding objectives.
Yes.
Just from what I can see.
And these guys have got, you can go to crushing strength 1. But you drop your defense to 4. So this is the two-handed weapons upgrade, and we like crushing strength. We're in our limited experience of the game.
From my experience of the game, I like crushing. I like anything that can apply any modifiers is always going to be good.
Right.
Be it for better or for worse. Obviously, better modifiers for your troops obviously means less
worse modifiers. Worse
modifiers. Yeah. It's the classic. Anything that can get you an advantage in any little way can take you a mile.
So tell me about the. My eye is immediately caught by the throwing Mastiff. What's that? So 15 extra points. I can have a throwing Mastiff, a dog that I throw into the battle. Tell me about that.
I'm still trying to figure out if the throwing Mastiff is
there's a picture of it online.
If a Mastiff, well, is it a Mastiff that runs and mauls people, or is it a bomb? Ranged
attack, once per game, 12-inch range,
8 attacks,
8 attacks,
yeah.
Piercing 1, always hits on a 4-up. Well, that's decent, isn't it? 12-inch range, attack 8.
Which seems quite handy.
So 8 attacks, 4 hits. So you probably get 4 hits out of that once per game.
If you can, I would be more tempted to, and it doesn't look like you can, although I might just be mislooking at it. Yeah, it doesn't really can. I'd be more tempted to put a throwing Mastiff on a already range-based unit. So if you could stick a throwing Mastiff onto a unit of the
but
decimators.
Isn't this like you get close to the melee and
you throw your dog. But
throw your dog in.
I'd much rather, personally for me, just have range units that just do more.
Do more range.
So I'd be like, I'm not only going to shoot you, I'm going to do...
This is an army upgrade, so can't you give it to the range units?
It doesn't look like you can on here, but maybe in the army builder they've changed it, but just in the book here.
So what are we looking? So what is a ranged unit in the
decimators?
Decimators. Well, it's an army. The dog of war, the throwing Mastiff, is an army upgrade. So you can give it to the ranged unit.
But only some units can, because it's listed on the appropriate guys. It is a army piece upgrade, but only some units can take it.
But only some units can take it, and the decimators can't. So they obviously want it. Mantic obviously want it.
Much like what I wanted, which was I wanted to go, well, I want my range units to do more damage. They turn around and go, we understand that would be strong, so we've stopped it.
That's right. Well, yeah, I don't quite. I mean, if your ranged units are already doing ranged attacks, why do you want more ranged stuff? Because it's a dog that you can throw at the opponent.
Because rule of cool is that it's a dog you throw at people, but if you're going from pure statistics, just looking at the decimators, being 10 shots on a 10-man unit, on a little troop unit, you're almost doubling your damage output just on that little one there. So it would allow you to really pile on the hurt before a unit got into melee with them.
Aha, right.
So, and being that they're ranged units, they're going to be more at the back, so that it is less likely for units to take damage, thus meaning that the 10-man unit, that would be like the little troop one, would stay around longer because it's hidden behind stuff, rather than on a frontline unit, which is more likely going to be the attack of range.
When I was a dwarf, I wanted to throw my dogs into battle from my melee unit. But, yeah, I don't know.
That's right. It comes down to,
right.
if you're going to math hammer it, then you're better off having more ranged stuff on an already ranged unit.
You haven't sold me on how strong it would be, but generally you beat me when we play, so I'll have to take it under advisement. So okay, so what's your next unit? So that's Black Souls.
That's Black Souls, and we were just talking about the Decimators, which is conveniently
and we
a
covered
dual kit.
Decimators, and you were thinking about Decimators. And what else have you got?
So far, I actually quite like the look of the different war engines they've got.
Oh, right.
I'm a big fan of various different mortars, flamethrower teams, rocket batteries, it's all good stuff.
The Garog Mortar.
The Garog
I hope I pronounced that correctly for any dwarfs out there. Garog Mortar. Oh yeah, 48-inch range. Blast D3 +1. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Nothing. We like the Garog Mortar, don't we?
The Garog Mortar's nice.
Now we've read the blast rules, so it's a blast area of effect kind of thing.
Yeah, and from what I see, it fires indirectly.
So that presumably means it's not worried about line of sight, is that right?
No, traditional mortar just fires up and over.
And I
quite like it. That's the principle.
That's rather good, isn't it?
I'm a big fan, looking rules-wise, I'm a big fan of the Dragon Fireteam.
That's here as well, is it?
It's a war engine, yeah. It's a
Dragon Fireteam.
I'm a big fan of them because they have nimble, and the stats for their Blackfire gun are quite nice.
Right then. 14-inch steady aim, Blackfire gun. What does the Blackfire gun do?
From what I can see, it fires 12 shots with Vicious at range.
Right, so you want a big unit of these guys.
Oh no,
but there's only one unit.
Single
there's only one
weapon.
unit.
It's
a
just
single guy.
Yeah, it's just a couple of guys with a flamethrower running around.
We say yes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Dean, but you've got a bit of a history with Dark Dwarves, is that right?
Yes, I'm quite the fan of Chaos Dwarfs and the Abyssal Dwarf aesthetic.
So Chaos Dwarves were Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Is that what you were playing back in the day when I met you?
Yes, that was my first ever Warhammer Fantasy army, and I stuck true to them, even going so far as when Forge World brought the range out as a Forge World range. I bought an entire Forge World army of them. I wouldn't recommend that for your wallet.
So an entire house full of miniatures.
I still have the carry case at home, full of all the various war machines and various units that I used to use.
And so this one's got war machines as well, which we're seeing. We've got the Dragon Fireteam and the Garog Mortar and the Katsukan. How do you pronounce that? Katsuchan rocket launcher. Again, sorry to any dwarves if I get that pronunciation wrong. And so we've got lots of these war engines, which is your kind of gig.
I'm a big fan of the rampant industrialization that you see when it comes to just evil dwarfs.
Yeah.
Like you just see, whenever you think of Abyssal Dwarfs for Mantic, or you think about Chaos Dwarfs from Games Workshop, the first thing that usually comes in my mind is the cinematic panning scene from Isengard from Two Towers, where everything's being cut down.
Sort of wheels turning.
Yeah, wheels turning.
People whipping other people.
Yeah, that is
industry,
what happens.
Dark industry.
Yeah, that is what happens. All day, every day, it's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it.
Things being cut down, life being extinguished, and from the embers of the ruin of this industry comes
a Grog Mortar.
A Garog Mortar. That's that. Look out on the other side of the board. 48 inches is 4 feet. And
I like to imagine
that's the other side of the board. Yeah. That's the other side of the board, isn't it?
I can't argue with that range of I'm going to shoot you
almost anywhere on the entire board. So 4x6 is, I think, the usual full-scale game. That means if you put it
on the 12-inch mark,
you could reach anywhere in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like that.
I like it a lot.
Right then, so you've sold me on the Dark Dwarf aesthetic. What else are you looking at?